All right, guys, welcome back to Heritage in Motion, where we just talk about business, dumpster talk, life in general, everything that we deal with on the day to day life of a dumpster business. It's just the raw side of things and stuff that we want to give you guys and create some value. So today we are with Jose, who's my right hand man, one of my best friends, and we're just going to talk about. We're going to call this episode the dumpster dilemma of what we've been encountering here in Southern California. And yeah,
What's up, guys? I'm Jose. I oversee the operations, basically make sure the drivers have what they need, bins are moving, um, dispatching, routing.
not only does he oversee that, but he makes sure that all the drivers are staying safe, staying current with just laws and regulations, and that we have that good level of communication with all our clients out in the field. But this episode is going to be a good one, and it's I'm sure something that everyone deals with here in our industry. Now, obviously, it's different from county to county, state to state. So we're just going to be talking about specifically what we're encountering out here in Southern California. That's Riverside County, Orange County, LA County, San Bernardino County, San Diego County, and we hope it can bring some value to you, or perhaps bring some insightful information for so you can do your own research on it. But nonetheless, we'll talk about it, and that is our clients have been encountering franchise cities or franchise haulers coming in and tagging our bins. So it creates a little bit of an issue for our clients, and Jose's getting the calls, our dispatcher's getting the calls, and then we're just having to kind of adjust accordingly. So
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it firsthand. We're having our customers give us a call saying, hey, city came by, they tagged the container. You guys have X amount of hours to pick it up. It's always a little bit of a hassle, but it's, obviously something that we have to deal with when you're operating in cities that have franchise agreements. So we'll just kind of talk about a little bit of how how we handle it, what we do to maneuver through those franchise agreements, and
the first part of it is kind of the enforcement crackdown. So obviously, if you guys aren't aware or familiar with franchise agreements, it's when like a company for us down here, it could be Tech, Athens, CRNR, um, Republic. I mean, there's so many of them that have a contractual agreement with the city to be the only haulers to provide bins, and that could be 3 yarders, 40 compactor service. So everyone else is excluded from this and can't drop bins off. Now, over the last couple years, it's been pretty lax, but I would say over the last couple months, more so, I would say the last 6, 7 weeks, um, we've been getting a lot of calls from regional directors, supervisors, calling about our bins, tagging our bins. And Jose's had to deal with dealing with pulling bins from impound lots. So tell us about that.
yeah, it's no fun when you get a call from the driver and they're supposed to pick up a 40 or 20, whatever it is, and they're like, hey, did this get picked up already, because it's not here. So we gotta go back, do some research, make sure that it wasn't accidentally double booked for pickup, because that has happened before, where one driver was like, hey, I'm nearby, I dropped off a container here, I know that customer called and said it was ready for pickup, so they picked it up, and then we had it on the schedule for a different driver. So once we clear that, make sure that that's not the case. Yeah, somebody took our bin. So at that point, you know, it's figuring out what city we're in, making sure we understand. Okay, this is a franchise city. Talking to the customer, finding out, hey, did you notice any? Did anybody come by? Was there a tag on the container? And a lot of the times, that's especially recently, it's the customer will call and say, "Hey, thank you guys for picking up the container. We like the service." And we're like, "Well, we didn't pick it up yet." And then they'll have ring cameras, security cameras, and they'll pull the footage, and sure enough, it'll be that city's franchise hauler that picked up our bin. Um, so that conveys a trip down to the public works department, paying some fines. Basically, they'll pick up your container, they'll dump it, charge you
Well,
for
that's
the
always a good part, though, that they dump it for you, so that thing is ready for your next client.
yeah,
So I
it's ready to
guess
go.
it's a cost in doing business, but at least they dump it for us.
Yeah, so they'll dump the container, charge you for it, and then it gets taken to a tow yard. So then you got to go to the tow yard, pay the tow fees, and have one of your drivers come by and pick it up. So definitely takes up and eats up a lot of our day when that happens. But like Julian said, it's a cost of doing business in those cities.
And here's the kicker: we're not trying to be shady about it, because for us, we actually want to do things the right way. We want to be able to provide this service to all our clients. But when we go and talk to city council members and folks from the city, I mean, I know that there's other cities that will charge you a tax based on the amount of work you're providing throughout every quarter. And that's what we want to do. We understand that, it costs money to operate and it costs money to make money. We don't want to do things a shady way. We actually want to pay our portion just to be able to operate legally. And a lot of these franchise haulers, they can't provide the level of service that all our local haulers, all the small guys like us can do. We can provide same day service, next day service, swaps on demand, and we're just trying to do things the right way. So we do communicate a lot with local cities, but nobody wants to hear it. So this is just kind of what we have to do to fill that void and the demand that's there. So it's cost of doing business, I guess.
Yeah, which ideally ties into one of the questions that we get asked a lot is, "Hey, how come you guys don't paint your bins, the heritage green?" Um, and I mean, frankly, it's because we don't want to stand out. We want to blend in with the environment. We don't want to be this huge lime green dumpster out in the middle of the road that when the franchise hauler passes by, they go, "What is that?"
Yeah, and I think more so just because we do know everyone on a first name basis. Um, and it could be from Redlands, Riverside, you name it, every city that Bird Tech operates in, waste management. I mean, all these guys, we have a pretty significant amount of bins, but it seems like we all know them firsthand on a first name basis. And um, what they're doing here locally is they have these inspectors and they drive down the streets. And if you have them on the street, they're going to be able to identify that dumpster right off the bat. If you're in a franchise city that's waste management, obviously that's green. So if it's a gray dumpster, obviously it's not sticking out like a lime green dumpster, orange, red, yellow, pink, whatever it may be. But they can tell it doesn't belong to that city. If you're in Redlands, you know it's white. If you're in Ontario, you know it's going to be blue, and so forth. So for us, we just want to lay low. We keep a neutral color. Typically, we just do gray, and it doesn't stick out. Obviously, it's not our brand color. We would love to brand everything because we spend so much money on everything, but it just wouldn't be good for business. Um, so we just try not to be bold when it comes to that. And it's different in every state. It's different in different counties. For us, that's kind of what works. So something that we've talked about is when we had the Max D trailers, we really didn't stick out that much.
Mm-mm.
Everything was in the driveway.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff just kind of looks like a trailer that maybe that homeowner owns. So it didn't necessarily look like, hey, there's a prohibited dumpster in this area. Um, but obviously, with the roll off, they're way larger. They stand out. Um, so
Yeah. So when it comes to just like I said, being bold, we want to be bold, but the way that we're bold is by the level of service we provide, not necessarily by the dumpsters and
The
the
color of the
color.
dumpster,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and I think we've captured that. I think that we do a really good job as far as communicating with our clients and providing a really good service. And that's just the feedback that we get from our clients because we just do follow ups with our clients. Now, obviously, that doesn't, we're not here for like Google profile reviews or anything like that. A lot of our clients are contractors, warehouse developers, things like that. And those guys aren't really leaving reviews like the residential client because a lot of residential guys have like 500, 300, 200 reviews. We just don't do that. But um, the feedback that we get is positive. They push us onto the next job, and that's the feedback we need. So, like I said, not necessarily be bold with our dumpster colors, but just be bold with the
The level
level
of
of
service,
service,
yeah.
and that's kind of what we're after. Just we take this really personal, and we're here for the long haul. So that's kind of our mentality on all of this.
And part of that long haul is, believe it or not, we're fortunate enough to kind of work that into the budget for a lot of the stuff that we do. I mean, when we plan out how many dumpsters we're going to buy, if we're getting another truck and everything, we actually set aside money for situations like that. We know eventually we're going to be operating in a franchise city. Ben's going to get tagged. Customer maybe won't have the time to let us know, and the container's going to get towed. So, um,
So that's just one of the operating expenses that we have. So
exactly.
um, we talk about it. We see everyone post on uh, whether it's sponsored ads on Facebook, on OfferUp, on Craigslist, and we see the price points. Now, we don't think that we're the most expensive by any means. We just think we're fair, we're consistent with our pricing, and we deliver really good service. Obviously, we could be higher. Um, we have enough trucks running around that we do provide a really good service, but part of the cost in our dumpsters goes to a separate budget that's gonna be for dumpster retrieval from the city. So that's going down to Public Works Department and paying those fees. These are going to be taken to a tow yard, so you
Hmm.
have to pay storage fees for that. We have to account for labor, for fuel, and to replace that dumpster when it's taken. We have to provide that client. Their project doesn't stop, so it's we know what we're getting into, so we just have to provide another dumpster for them. So we're taking all of this into account. We're creating a budget. Well, not creating. We've had a budget, and that's why we don't shy away from doing this. It's the cost of doing business, and um, as long as there's a demand there, I think we're going to be operating. And like I said, we get these calls from these regional directors and all this. And actually, I was on the phone with them yesterday because we have a dumpster at a barbecue place up the road. But anyway, it's just it is what it is. So we just tell them, it is what it is. You do what you need to do, and we'll do what we need to do. But that's kind of how we're looking at things. It's a business. There's operating expenses, fixed expenses, variable expenses, and that's just one of the things that we're kind of prepared for.
Yeah. We get asked a lot, like, why do you deliver containers to that city if you're going to run the risk of your container potentially being taken? So,
And what do we tell them? There's a demand. We're going to
yeah.
be there to fill that demand. Obviously, they're calling for a reason. If the city franchise hauler was reliable and could be upfront with their clients about timing and consistency of somebody answering the phone, or just having an easy process, easy, seamless process for them, they would do it. But they're not timely.
No.
Nobody wants to call and press 9 for this, press 8 for this, and your drop call after 20 minutes on the phone. Nobody wants that. Now, for us,
Well, we get a lot of calls where when the customer calls, and we tell them, yeah, we can get you a container today if it fits into the route, or we can get you a container, tomorrow. They're surprised by that because they just got off the phone with one of the big guys, franchise haulers, and you know, 8 days out, 9 days out. I can get you a container next week. And when we tell them, yeah, we'll get you a container within 2, 3 hours, they're typically pretty surprised. And if they have a big project going on, obviously that's convenient and that saves them time and money and everything. So, um,
And we're honest with our clients right off the bat. We're like, hey, you're in a franchise
yeah,
city. And this goes back to just having
the
clear,
communication.
transparent
Yeah.
communication, being honest. We don't try to upsell. We just provide information and let you make the decision. So, like I said, right off the bat, we're like, hey, you live in a franchise city. Your franchise hauler is X. You can call them and get a dumpster from them. Or if you'd like, we can get you a dumpster today or tomorrow. And most of the time, they're like, we've already called them. And that's why we're shopping around. So um, I would say 9 out of 10 times, people are going to go with us over their franchise hauler just because how easy it is to communicate with us. And somebody will answer the phone 24/7 here. So whether it's Jose, myself, Virginia, our virtual assistant, somebody will answer 24/7. Our I mean, you can even order online if you want, which we get a lot of online orders. So by the time we wake up, we see the deliveries there. But it's pretty easy. We send you an invoice typically within 10, 15 minutes of that phone call. You can go on there,
hmm And then
pay.
that's the other thing too is like sometimes we'll get online orders and right off the bat we'll see, hey, this is a franchise city. So, we give that customer a call and say, hey, we received your order. We got it on schedule for delivery. FYI, um, you are in a franchise city, so there's a potential that your bin might get tagged. And then here's our plan. Here's our course of action if that does happen. And 9 times out of 10, the customer is going to be like, yeah, bring it. I need it. And we go for it. We've had some customers that, maybe they have further questions and we're able to provide them with knowledge and, um, like I said, a game plan if it does happen, whether it's we get them a container, a different type of container, or, move up their pickup or delay their delivery so that they can maybe create a bigger pile and the container's not sitting there for so long. Whatever it is, we'll come up with something to help them out, and that just
Just
keeps their project going.
see how we can take care of that client. Now, here's a few different ways of how to protect yourself. If you are a homeowner, if you are a general contractor, if you are a builder, if you are a business, um, just a couple quick ways of protecting yourself. One, when you're calling a dumpster provider, it doesn't matter who it is. Just know, always ask about your city. Hey, this is if you don't know. Ask if your city is in a franchise is franchised. Um, Now that hauler that you're calling, they should know this. Two, um, ask what plan they have in place in case a dumpster does get taken. So if you do go with them, ask them, what's your plan? What do you do if your dumpster gets taken? Is the client liable for the fees? Do the fees fall back on the business? Those are just valid questions to ask. And just be aware of municipal codes. Know what you can and can't do. A lot of people don't know municipal codes. And that's kind of how the city operates. Most haulers will refer back to code enforcement. Code enforcement will go out there and tag the dumpsters. Um, or code enforcement will partner up with somebody to take that bin. So definitely just ask a few questions. Obviously, know what you can and can't throw away, but um, I would say it's easier to place dumpsters in the driveway, especially for us that they're driving down the street and they're looking for dumpsters. That's why a lot of the guys that are running like the Max D, the Cougar trailers, the what would you call it? The P the PJ Rollster, whatever the hell that is. Um, they can get away with a lot of the residential dumpsters because you can't really see them, and it's really not affecting the bigger companies, most of them are dealing with 3 yarders, 10 yarders, and 40 yarders. 15s and 20s, they're not really doing as much, but um,
Oh,
just
when
a
you
couple.
start delivering to like warehouses, and
Yeah, that's when they
that's
kind of
when they start getting a little bit more annoyed with you.
that's when you're directly competing with them, and a lot of times we're pulling up at the same time they're pulling out or pulling in,
Yeah,
or
you're
so
getting the dirty looks from them.
try giving them a hello and it just doesn't happen. So um, that's just the nature of the business, though. It is what it is. There's nothing we can do about that. And
Yeah, the only thing we can do is just, um, be transparent with the customer, stay compliant, and, you know, keep our bins under the radar, not painting them a bright green for everybody to see.
yeah, I mean, I would say that's kind of like the gist of it. That's why we want to make this little video. But um, just know that if you guys are going with the hauler, have those questions in mind. If you guys end up calling our office, know that we have a plan in place to get you a dumpster that same day, next day. We have a plan in place to get you a timely service. If that dumpster does get taken, we have a plan for that. We have a budget for that. We don't charge our clients for that dumpster being taken. It's just the cost of doing business, and it is what it is. But I guess for this quick little episode of however long it was, um, that's kind of the dilemma we've been going through, and I don't deal with it as much. Jose's been the one getting all the calls, but I hear about it, and he's the one that's having to be quick on his feet and deal with these cities, these regional directors, these folks out there, inspectors looking at waste, and
Supervisors trying to pull over our roll off trucks.
yeah, supervisors doing that,
So,
um, using intimidation
yeah.
tactics, which we just tell them to go pound sand. We're not into that. No, thank you, not today. They're not big fans of when we say that, but that's just the nature of the business. So I hope this was insightful information on how we're dealing with things out here, what we're going through, and I'm sure everyone else is going through it, but that's simply what we're dealing with. And I have friends in the industry that, I mean, shit, we've traveled enough to see the red bins, the yellow bins, the red bins.
Orange,
You got a gentleman down here down the road that got a pink bin. In Florida, you got every single color. When I was
dolphin
out in,
colors.
yeah, when I was, yeah, the
Shout out to
Ryan.
Ryan.
Shout out to Ryan. Um, so we have friends all over the place, and they all have different color dumpsters. And it works in some areas, it works in others. It doesn't work
Yeah.
out here for us.
Just
It doesn't mean it's
know
gonna.
your city.
Yeah, know your
Yeah.
city. It doesn't mean it's gonna stop though. The demand's there, but just be mindful that when you create your brand, your image, and you're using these colors, it might be something that you have to deal with. So it sucks to have to rebrand and repaint your colors or repaint your dumpsters
Yeah.
because of this. So
Well,
be mindful.
we not to interrupt you, but I mean, I have 3 buckets of green paint sitting in the
Yeah.
storage that we bought. We were gonna paint bins green, and we thought better of it. So,
That's when we
if
were
anybody needs
first.
green paint, I
Let
got
us know.
about
It's
4 gallons, 3 or 4 gallons of it.
or is that we went to the store and we said we want waste management green. So it might work. I mean, we have them in the back. That's when we were going to start painting dumpsters, but we didn't. So thanks for watching this second episode. I know there's not a whole lot of you watching, but we appreciate the couple of you watching
Yeah,
this.
all
I know
three of you.
all three. So I got a picture from my wife. So my two daughters and my wife were watching the first episode this morning, and she sent me a picture. They're the biggest supporters. So for the few of you watching this, we appreciate you, but I think it's some very insightful information. It's what we're dealing with. It's what
Yeah,
we're going through every day. And this is the type of stuff that we want to give you guys, just everyday stuff that we're dealing with. And
yeah. A lot of it also too is just like Instagram questions. Like we get questions all the time on Instagram. And some of those were like, hey, how come you guys, don't paint your bins a certain color or whatever? Or what are you guys doing if your bin gets tagged? So we figured, since it keeps happening, we'd make a video and address some of those questions. So
Yep.
thank you guys for watching.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
on to the next one. Appreciate you guys.